Airplane Wi-Fi systems vulnerable to cyber attack. That's according to a new report from Government Accountability Office. That report warning that if a plane's control system uses the same wiring or router as the onboard internet, it opens the plane up to cyber attack from a passenger or even someone on the ground. Hackers could also place a virus into the flight controls, take control of the navigation system, or even commandeer the aircraft. Well, joining me now to assess the latest cyber threat, John Lucich, CEO of the cybersecurity firm Network Security Group. And thank you so much for being here, John. This is frightening stuff because, the report feeds into something that I think other people think about. Listen, if I'm on the internet, what's to stop me from connecting to the cockpit and the systems there and taking control? Is that a real threat?
Here's what it is. While there's a potential for any computer on the internet to be vulnerable or to be on a network is vulnerable, the probability here is very low for a lot of different reasons. Number one, the Wi-Fi unit, when the aircraft is most vulnerable below 10,000 feet, is off. They turn it off, and once they get above 10,000 feet, now why is it more vulnerable below 10,000 feet? Because there's less altitude between you and the ground.
Right.
The closer you get to the ground, the more vulnerable you're going to be. So we're at 10,000 feet. No matter what goes on with that aircraft, they're going to have time to react. In addition to that, inside the cockpit, they can manually shut down the Wi-Fi. So if the airplane is acting in an unusual manner that they're not accustomed to, it should be part of their protocol to shut that wireless down. And lastly, while they have manual override to actually fly this airplane themselves, they can also shut down pieces of equipment that they may think are malfunctioning or have been hacked, if that's a possibility at all, and I don't believe that is, by shutting down the circuit breakers. So I believe that this is overhyped. I believe that anytime there is a potential, but the probability here is very, very low that it would ever impact a flight.
The problem is you get nervous when they say, look, we've got a firewall in place, it can never happen. Well, we know that banks had a firewall. We know that the Pentagon had a firewall, and they all got hacked.
But here's the difference with that. They're on a part of the internet that has literally millions and millions of people across the world. Remember, these people are on an airplane. So if you're on a small airplane, you have anywhere from 50 to 300 people if you're on a Dreamliner 787, right? So you're limited to only a couple of hundred people on that airplane. If you put just a simple intrusion detection system in there, remember, one of the reasons Target said they got hacked is because of false positives, because there's so much traffic. Well, there's only a couple hundred people on an airplane. The false positive is going to be close to nothing. It could automatically be set that if there's an intrusion of somebody probing that network, shut the wireless down automatically.
Is the bigger threat here an inside job? Someone that could leave these electronics, vulnerable by changing codes?
Absolutely, and I've said that. I believe that if somebody got a job inside an avionics company or inside the airlines and was actually able to plant something in and connect it to certain equipment, that's where the vulnerability is. But the way these systems are right now, and remember, I come from a different perspective. I own a company that does national assessments of networks, governments, and major corporations and casinos. I'm also a former jet pilot. I didn't fly for the airlines, but I've been licensed as a commercial pilot for over 30 years. So I have a unique perspective other than other security experts because I've done both of these. And I can tell you this, sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. Boeing's a great company.
One other thing, air traffic control. This worries me too. They're trying to update the system. If it becomes more connected to the internet, what if someone could hack into air traffic control and then start flying planes into each other?
Sure. I mean, now there's a real greater threat than whatever could happen on an airplane because those facilities are connected to the internet.
Right.
And if they're not watching what they're doing and somebody's coming in, but I've got to believe that the U.S. government's on top of that. Yes, we've heard hacks of this and that, but they've been minor. No one's ever done anything of catastrophic value to any target in the United States because of a hack. I think the United States government is on top of things. I think the CIA is doing a great job, and I think their technical staff. Do we have issues? Absolutely. But remember, we create the issues by placing our computers on the internet. But that makes us more efficient, but it also makes us more vulnerable, right?
Should they take Wi-Fi away from people on airplanes just as a safety measure?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's great. I loved it. I flew United. I had it. I've flown Southwest. It helps me get my job done. The threat is just so low. And remember, they can shut the wireless down at any time, and they can manual override it. Enjoy the flight.
I feel better already. Thank you so much, John Lucich, for joining us tonight.